Hello and welcome everyone back to another episode of the Not Fighting podcast. This is what That's what we decided to name it. So
yeah, we decided on a name finally.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different layers to I guess why we would name it that, but yeah, you don't care. So that's just what it is for right now.
Yeah.
So we've done the last couple episodes on focusing on different types of people and different types of things in jiu-jitsu. We focused on gis first, like the colors that suck the most, and then also some of the worst.
Like we need to recap like our segments, our former podcast every time, do we?
I guess we don't. It's not like a Netflix series where you got to like caught up.
You need to like.
If you didn't watch episode 1, you're going to be totally lost in this one.
No, we can just say today we're going to talk about the types of competitors that you're going to see at a competition. It's an interesting group of people when you go to a competition, a jiu-jitsu competition. Also, I think I need to get my dog to stop pawing.
He thinks that there's either another dog.
I don't know if he wants outside
to play with
or
him on the other side of the window, or if he's just like really, really. Like, we open up the door and he paws at it, and then he acts like he wants to go outside, but he doesn't. He really just
paws. He still paws at his own reflection. He likes to paw at his reflection.
A shout out to Shiba Inus. Anyways.
They're easy to train.
Speaking of training, so a lot of people are training for jiu-jitsu competition. Nice segue. That's why I'm really good at this. and so jiu-jitsu competition is one of those things where you're right. There's a lot of different types of people that you're going to see there. But I would say you almost have to divide it into two different categories.
What do you mean by two different categories?
I mean, like
the competitors versus the spectators.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. The people that are going to basically be on the mats versus the people that are off. Yes. Because those people off, they're like a really broad
And specifically, the people off, the most intriguing to me are parents. We're not going to talk about them today, but it's family and parents. People who are most intriguing to me are the ones who actually don't compete in jiu-jitsu themselves. But today, we're going to talk about the competitors on the mats.
We're going to talk about them.
Yes.
So
and maybe hate on them. I don't know.
So I know before this we were kind of like discussing, and we were like trying to figure out like basically like a rough like category, because there's a lot of people and they have like some overlaps in some cases. But the thing that I think sticks out to me in terms of the types of people that there are is that you basically have this like wide group of people that think they're the most important person because the fact that they're competing in jiu-jitsu that day.
Like the most important person?
Yeah.
In the entire event, or like, yeah.
And so one of the best examples, and it's the first one that we have written down, is the no shoes guy.
Yes. There's always a guy. And then you always like, especially in the smaller events, you're going to have like, there's going to be an announcement at any point in the day of like, competitors, please make sure if you're going into the bathroom, you're wearing your shoes, because there's a guy or girl. I'm not going to hate on gender here. Maybe there's both. Typically, mostly men, not going to lie. But they're going to go into the restroom with bare feet, and then they're going to come back out and step on the mats with them same dirty bare feet and like spread staph, bacteria, everything to everyone else that's competing that
coronavirus.
Day. Maybe the coronavirus.
That's how it started, honestly. I mean,
people say bats, but I say jiu-jitsu.
Hate some jiu-jitsu feet. But the thing is like, the guy that doesn't wear shoes, that if you first were to go to a jiu-jitsu competition and you were to be like, hear that announcement of them saying, don't like go into the restroom without shoes on, like keep shoes on at all time. Like if you're a normal person, you're like, of course. Like who's taking their shoes off? Like who's not wearing shoes here? Yeah. But then you look around and you're like, oh, all the competitors.
That guy. You can see him. You know who he is. He's that guy.
He's usually pretty distracted, too. The reason why he's not wearing shoes is because he's got like a million other things going on. And to me, that extends into almost like another category of person, and that is the person that's like walking around naked.
Yeah. Okay. Let's explain that though. It's not just walking around naked for no reason. They're walking around naked because they were weighing in. So they had to weigh in some tournaments, not IBJJF, but like in some tournaments, you get to weigh in like in whatever you want. Maybe it's like whatever you want, you know. And for that guy, whether he was on weight or needed the balance or not, he's gonna strip down to his underwear and like get as many clothes off as possible so that he weighs the lightest available when he steps on that scale, even though, you know, it was unnecessary. They would, like, I've been at tournaments where they would even like we would say like, we'll give you like a pound allowance or something for clothing, and they would like still strip down. It's like there's children and families and whatever, and it's like, nope, I need to be naked.
That's my favorite part is growing up in the Midwest, like for a long time, one of the biggest tournaments you could do was the Arnold Classic. And at the Arnold Classic, you could weigh in the day before. So, of course, everybody wants to weigh in the day before. Everybody would cut a bunch of weight. And the thing is the UFC would always host an event there as well. Nogi was a lot bigger at the time. Anyways, I feel like we were all just figuring ourselves out.
Yeah.
But either way, what would happen is you'd have a number of people
funny that you said like Nogi is bigger at the time, because I feel like Nogi is like kind of like making a rise. Sidebar, but like
I think it's having a renaissance.
Maybe. I feel like Nogi might be like the thing. But anyway,
continue. But anyways, what I think is funny about it is that you'd have these guys that basically weighed in. They'd be on weight. They'd tell them like, you don't have to strip off. We'll give you the weight or whatever. But when they were weighing in, they were imagining that Joe Rogan was announcing them at the like UFC main event, like public weigh-ins, and they were going to go out there and they were going to take off all their clothes and they were going to flex. Like you can see the people that like want to flex even when they get on the scale, and they're just like, all right, yeah, you weigh 167 and a half, and they're like, yes I do, I weigh 167 and a half. I don't know, I just think that the people that are basically like weighing in and that are running around naked, they're and this shoes off guy, like those people are almost one and the same. They're almost oblivious to their surroundings.
Probably the same person. Like, for being honest, like I think a lot of these things are going to be like stereotype. It's like all the same type of person. It's just like the things
it's one guy.
It's like one guy. You might see all these things happening. Like he's also going to be it's like this person is also going to be like so nervous that they just brought like all this like they're gonna have every type of pre-workout, all the like the goo gels. They're gonna have like 20 like honey sticks, or maybe like a whole like little like honey bear, like honey
bear guy.
They're gonna be like chugging honey, bananas, coconut water, and
there's
like
definitely
everything.
A honey bear
or maybe
guy.
Like not even they're not gonna have coconut water. This guy's not that classy.
No,
they're gonna have Pedialyte. Okay, that's really truly what's gonna happen.
Or like KoolAid.
Nobody drinks KoolAid. Now you're just being stupid. No.
Well,
it's called Not Fighting Podcast. I don't want to argue with you right now because we're pretty much in agreement. But nobody's drinking KoolAid on the day of a tournament.
You don't know what people are doing.
I do.
You're not with the people. The people might be drinking Kool-Aid. That said,
the people are not drinking Kool-Aid. They're drinking Pedialyte. I know what the people are doing
because
I've seen the people.
Yeah, those people are drinking Pedialyte. I will say the guy with the whole honey bear thing though, that is a dude. Like, there's a guy out there that basically gives himself diabetes every tournament because it's just like he's sitting up.
But then he goes out and like loses within 30 seconds.
Fights in 3 minutes.
Not even 3 minutes. He's like 30 seconds and he's gone. So it's like you didn't even like. You probably burned more calories warming up than you did.
He's littered the place with like half of a banana that he's eaten. He's eaten like 9 half bananas. He's like opens up a new banana. It's like honey bear, half banana. Like down.
All over the place. It doesn't matter.
It's all over the place. That's why there's banana peels like just littered across the gymnasium after it's all done with.
Oh yeah. There's so much trash, and I feel like it's almost always competitors. Like they're like snacks and stuff like left over. And just everything. And I'm somebody that always like over prepares. I have a bag full of like all kinds of things that I can eat before, just to like maintain or eat throughout the day. Like you want to make sure you kind of like keep your energy, but like don't fill yourself. So you like have, just all these snacks in your bag, and then I don't use half of them, but I'd rather be over prepared. But I feel like this person that we're talking about is like takes at least a bite of everything that you brought for the day.
You would think this is the person that is this is the person that's also like cutting a lot of weight. This is not the weight cutting person. This is not a person who's indulging because they've sacrificed. They're hungry.
They just need to be prepared.
This is the guy that's just like, yeah, like you said, just needs to be prepared. The person that's cutting weight, that person is a totally different breed of person. That's the guy that's like dying to make the weight.
They would not even touch or look at honey because it's like, oh no, I can't. I gotta make weight. And like they're sweating. They have the trash bags on. They have like everything.
One of these bad boys.
They're like doing every warm up. They're doing like all the things, like dying of sweat, look like Skeletor because they've cut way too much weight than they need to, and then like they step on the scale, they're probably like 6 pounds under, but they've been stressing about it for like 12 months.
Two camps in my opinion. The guy that does all that and then they weigh in, and then like the weight class is like, I don't know, 167, 168 or whatever it is, and then the guy's like 158 and he's like, oh cool, good, I made it, scale's a little light, and it's like, what, a little light? You weighed 10 pounds under.
Yeah.
And then you got the other guy that's like checks the scale like right before he comes on, and he's like, oh crap, I had no idea, and he's like 3 pounds over, and it's like
3 pounds is kind of a big deal.
And it's like he's the same guy that like right before the tournament you were asking like, hey man, how's your weight? And he says,
oh, it's good. I'm on weight. I have no worries.
And then you're like, all right, cool. And then you see him at the tournament, and he's like sweating.
Like, you're looking kind of doughy, bro.
He's smoking meth in the parking lot.
No,
that's
like,
not.
You're just adding stuff into it.
Well,
like things you've seen in like rural Missouri.
You don't know what they're doing. But what is the one thing that we both associated with somebody that's like trying to cut weight at all costs?
I don't know.
It's a guy that's throwing up in the trash can.
Throwing up in the trash can. It's like, you're going to see that at almost every tournament. You're going to see somebody throwing up in a trash can or a water fountain. Seen that?
Oh, God. The water fountains are not built for that.
No, it's so rude.
They're not built for that.
It's so terrible. But
the drains on them are like designed to not catch
catch it. But like people are like, I don't know why they'd be in a water fountain, but it's like they're sitting in there like spitting. Like spitting in a water fountain for whatever reason.
And here's the thing: you don't want to go.
You're not going to spit out 2 pounds.
You don't want to go against that guy the first round. You know why?
What?
Tell the people why you don't want to go against the guy the first round. The guy that's throwing up in the trash cans, the guy that's throwing up in the water fountain, that's the guy that's like not afraid to take a lot of laxatives. But here's the thing. He's not. He's not taking them. He's not taking them at a responsible time. He's not taking them like 2 days ahead of time.
He took him that morning. And then, like, you know, it's like a 4 to 6 hour window. That 4 to 6 hour window has hit its peak.
If that guy doesn't lose his first match, you're in trouble. If you're getting that guy in like the semis or something like that.
It's very true. It's gonna be a bad day. I mean, I've seen a lot of people have some mishaps that way, and I feel bad for them. Like, if you like have to like, I don't know, go to the bathroom in your pants.
Clean as a whistle.
That's like an inside joke that gets me every time. Also, you're not good at whistling.
Yeah. It wasn't meant to be a whistle. Just air. Anyways, that guy is like a stark contrast to someone else, and this is somebody that you brought up, and it's you wrote it down as
the narcoleptic, the person who is like just can go to sleep anywhere. And our professor JW, who we started training jiu-jitsu with, he is this person. Just falls asleep no matter what. I think I have a great photo of him from like at a tournament. I don't even know if he was compete. No, he did compete that day. But like I feel like specifically when he's competing, he's just like anywhere. Like can just fall asleep anywhere. You see people passed out in the most normal way. It's like gotta conserve energy or like just bored. I don't know. Just waiting around. There's a lot of waiting at tournaments. And I am somebody that, like, I can't sleep on planes. Like, I can't sleep just anywhere. Like, I need, like, a certain, like, on my stomach, like, pillow between my legs, chilling. But these people, they can fall asleep at any notice and at anywhere. And they do it at tournaments all the time, just sleeping. There's so much going on. And I'm like, how? Like, I'm too nosy for that. Like, I can't, you know, I hear people talking and, like, I'll stay awake, like, pretend I'm asleep. And like listen to conversations.
And one of my first tournaments ever, I was on the spectrum of the weight cutting guy.
Nah, you for sure are that guy.
I was on the spectrum of that guy, which is
the
opposite.
I wasn't with you on your very first tournament ever, which kind of makes me sad.
No, you were not with me on my very first tournament ever. Like one of my set.
But was your very first tournament ever like Pan Am's?
No, my very first tournament ever was the Arnold Classic.
Not yet. Yeah, like
I brought my dad.
But not me. We were dating at the time, but I didn't go. But that makes me sad that I wasn't even there. It wasn't a good day anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it's still like, I can see you being that guy, like the nervous. Like you're like such a worrier and over-prepare.
But I remember your very first tournament ever. I was still that guy, I feel like, at the time. But
you were just for me.
But Jeff Munson was competing. And Jeff Munson was competing in the Arnold Classic.
True.
And they were like, hold on, we got to find Jeff. We think he's in the back napping. And I'm over there like hopped up on laxatives, probably wondering about like, how can this guy be just back there taking a nap? Just note, I said the laxative thing is a joke. I just don't want people thinking like, oh, that's cool. Like Tyler said to take laxatives. I don't say that.
Do you?
I don't. No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not a proponent. I'm not a proponent.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Okay. I mean, but if you need to cut weight, it's a great thing. Don't do it for like 3 months, but like, a couple of days before. I'm not going to tell you no.
No, I mean, this is not
okay, anyway, Jeff Munson sleeping.
Anyways, I just thought that was weird. So, I mean, if you are this person, I mean, like, that's a personality thing. But I also feel like, if you're not that person, like, definitely don't be, like, trying to take naps and stuff. I don't think that's going to work out.
No, but then you have another person, though, that's, like, the kind of the opposite. Because, like, I feel like the person who's napping is, like, a veteran. Like, they've been there. Like, they just waiting around. They're at the tournament. Maybe they had to get there early because, like, they had friends or students competing. But they're like, now it's time for me to rest and conserve my energy. But then you have the other person on the flip side of that who's, like, brand new. You'll know who it's, like, you can easily spot, like, the people at a tournament that it's, like, their first time competing ever. Because they are lost. They have no clue what's going on. They're, like, wandering around, like,
They said I was supposed to compete at 1 o'clock, so I got here at 5 a.m. Yeah. It's like, wait, what?
They're way too early, always. Like, just nervous. Never in the right spot, though. Like, trying to listen for their name, like, to be called. And it's like, no. Like, you're fine. Like, they give you a schedule. Like, just chill, relax. But they're so uptight about, like, figuring out where to go that, like, I think they probably, like, waste most of their energy, like, preparing to, like, fight or figuring out where to go in the fight in the day than anything else.
I can only imagine what it would be like to be, like, one of the runners, like, the people that, like, run tables at, like, IBJJF tournaments and stuff like that. Of the amount of people that are the person you just described, they're like, did you call my name? My name's Josh Ramsey. And then they're like, no, I said the name Angela Brontosaurus. And then they're like, okay, just let me know. Josh Ramsey, just in case. I can only imagine. But
I feel like what's way more frustrating, though, is, like, and I've seen this so many times, is the black belts. It's because the black belts, like, they've been there. We're seasoned. We know what's going on. And there's so many of them that, they'll wait for me. It'll start when I'm ready, And it's like, you can never find them. They're never, like, on time or where they need to be or whatever. And it's just like, they'll wait for me.
The best thing ever is, like, whenever they call a black belt's name, and I'll never forget this. I won't say the person's name, but they called the black belt's name, and they were like, third and final call, so-and-so. And the person was a world champion. Everybody knew they weren't going to disqualify him. And as they were calling his name, he was not only walking out of the bullpen, but walking up the bleachers to, I'm guessing, go to the restroom, like, make a phone call, whatever. But they're like, third and final call. And that was like his mental note to be like, cool, that means I got 10. And then he just, like, left.
It's so true. Like, hurting like the higher ranking people is way harder than the the lower ranks, because the lower ranks are so nervous that they're gonna be there like, oh, is it my turn? Are we ready? But, like, higher ranks is like, I know, like, they'll start when I'm there.
Then you've got the guy that, because I don't know if it's because they're new necessarily.
It's not a newness thing.
It's not a newness thing, but they're just confused. Like, they're
they're pretend confused. Let's be honest with it. They're not really confused.
I think
they're
there's a mixture.
Confused.
I think there's a mixture, and here's what I'll say is because out on the mats, it's the person that like their coach is yelling something at them, and they're like hip over sweep, and they look at them and they're like, which one? Scissor sweep? And they're like, no, hip over sweep, and they're like doing the scissor sweep, and they're like, scissor sweep, and the coach is like, damn it, no, any other sweep but the scissor sweep, and then they're like doing it, pulling the trigger on the scissor sweep.
Gets their guard pass.
And they get their guard pass, and they just like look at their coach like about to cry, and they're like, I did everything you said. And the coach is like, bah.
But then like there's the flip side of that is the person that's acting confused the whole time. They know. It's like and then the whole time they're just like arguing with the referees. They're like, no. And then if you see them throughout the day, they're talking to everyone about how they got screwed, and then this ref sucked, and this was terrible, and that was bad, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, man, like I watched the fight. Like that didn't happen. You like had amnesia or something and forgot your whole match.
Bro,
or whatever.
like it's solely Brazilian bias. The guy passed my guard right off of a takedown. Like the referee would
that
like
was a white-haired red guy. You were a red-haired white guy.
Red.
I said it backward.
White-haired red guy. It was super weird, man. Yeah, the guy you fought was like he was an alien or something. It was weird.
He was holding at a sunburn.
You talking about the old sunburn guy you fought? Yeah, man, I don't know. Not a lot of excuses there.
Oh my God.
But it's the guy that like gets taken down, and as the referee's like holding up 2 points to give the guy the takedown, he's like, look, he's like, what's the referee doing? Is he doing sign language? Should I be paying attention to that? Gets his guard pass. He's like, oh, I thought the referee was like calling a stop to the match, and it's like, well, why?
What?
And he's like, I don't know, man. You know how this is. It's all BS. And then like all his teammates are like, yeah, man, it's all BS. And
you got screwed. No, man. I watched the fight. Like, the referee was correct.
But, like,
I'm not saying the refs don't make
and the guy will be, like,
mistakes.
losing 12-0. And then, like, as he's, like, the other guy's getting his hand raised, he's like, wait, what? He had 12 and I had 0? What? And they're like,
I love like just the utter like shock. Like, man, you're a really good actor that you can like really act that shocked about what had happened.
But the thing is like it's like it'll be somebody that you'll never see them show those types of like shock or facial expression in any other part of their life. But it's like totally hamming it up. It's like they faint. They're like, oh, I can't believe it. Like it's like the most overwhelmingly
like, man,
shocking.
I didn't know you had them acting chops. But like it happens, and just don't be that person.
And I think it's that type of person that has the ego that can't accept that they lost. And then you have somebody else that's like this quiet, like attention-seeking ego. And this is something that I think has become more prominent as time has gone on.
Yes. You see, it's like the person who is like has like the most elaborate warm-up routine that you've ever seen. And it's like not necessary. It's not like you're doing jiu-jitsu or like doing things that you've seen people do like for warm-ups. It's like they've created this routine that's going to draw attention to them in whatever way they can. It's like, hey, everybody, look at me. Like, I need attention. I need you guys to know that I'm warming up in the best way possible.
Like, the thing that comes to mind is the person that went, like, you have the viral things of the person that's, like, got headphones on and they're, like, dancing. I feel like that's become a thing where it's, like, a lot of people try to pretend to be that person.
The people who do that, like, I don't think that that's intentional because you can see in their face they're just relaxed. They're just, like, listening to music and they're prepared. But it's, like, now it's a thing. Like, okay, like, I need to, like, do a dance or something. Like, get these photographers, like, the photographers that are, at the tournament to start, like, taking... are paying attention to me, so like they'll take photos and stuff, and it's like, come on, man, like you're trying too hard. Stop. Don't be that person. Don't be it. Like, if it's natural, we know. When
you first started talking about it, I imagined somebody that had, like, those, like, silk things, those, like, silk strands that come down from the ceiling, the people that, like, get inverted and, like, tangle themselves up, do some kind of, like, Pilates or yoga or something.
Like acro yoga.
I can see somebody, I can imagine somebody, like, getting that stuff out and, like, doing all of it to get ready for a,
it's, like attached to the ceiling at the pyramid. Ahead of time is like,
what?
This is the only way I can warm up, bro. I need my silks.
I need my silks. And that's the thing too, is it's like anybody that's doing that kind of stuff, they almost act offended whenever you're like, hey man, like do you mind moving like your deadlift setup? And then they're like, what? I needed to warm up.
I'm just trying to warm up, man.
I'm just trying to get warm. Like, is this your first tournament?
Because it's my second.
I've done this like 4 times. Trust me, my hammy's about to be warm, brah.
And then you have like another person though that's kind of like that, where it's like they make a big scene, and it's not while they're warming up, but it's like as the referee calls you onto the mat, it's like this person is probably not religious or not like, but they become the most religious person ever.
They literally transform into John the Baptist right before your eyes.
Praying 20 minutes, like praying before they step on the mat, and it's like, where did this come from? It's like they gotta take off like a cross necklace, and then they like do like a 20-minute prayer, and
they
then,
burn
like,
some incense,
like throwing like, you know, all the things, and I'm like, you know, maybe like mixing religions because they're not sure.
They slit a lamb's throat just to be careful. It's like,
come on, like, I don't know, like if you're gonna pray, like I love Jesus, like that's like a thing that I mean I am definitely like a Christian, but like I pray silently before I go out on the mat. I don't need to make a show of it. I feel like if you're making a show of it, like sometimes it just comes off as ingenuine.
I agree with that. I just find it very annoying. Like if you come out onto the mat,
you gotta wait for like somebody to like do like 20
and
minute
the thing
prayer.
is, like you come out there and you're like, all right, cool, ready, and then you turn back and you're like, where's my opponent? And then you're like, I don't see him, and then you're like, oh, they're still on the ground praying, and then you can see the referee too. Like they're like, I'll deal with this for a second, and then you can tell like they reach this point to where they're like, all right, yeah, like. It's egregious at this point.
Yeah, like come on, like I get it. Like if you want to do a little like I don't
Didn't
know.
you have time?
I'm not Catholic. I don't know what this means.
We sit around and wait all day. You didn't have time to do that like 5 minutes before when the other match was still going on. Like you don't need to do it right before you step onto the mat. Like you could have waited before the referees. Like you could have done it before the referees call. You could have done it in the 10 minutes that they were like having sandwiches and like pretending like they were trying to figure out who was supposed to be out there, but it's really they know which guy it is, and there's like 3 of them.
They're just tired of refereeing, so they just want to break.
They pretend like there's some kind of confusion.
They need a break. They deserve the break.
They do need a break. As someone that's refereed tournaments before, I definitely like after a certain period of time.
I mean, shout out to referees because like that is a job that I do not like doing, and I just, you know, if you're doing it, like kudos to you because it is a thankless job, and I respect you for doing it and trying. Side note.
Trying your best.
Thank
you.
you.
I feel like
we appreciate you.
A lot of them do.
Yes. And a lot of them suck.
And so, like, you have the religious person, and I'm going to circle back to somebody that we were talking about a little bit earlier because I feel like there's some overlap, and that is the person that not only is confused the whole time and kind of like almost makes a show of it, it's this person evolves into another person, which I feel like is the false memory person.
Yeah, they can't remember exactly what had happened inside of like their match, like, which for me it's like it's like when people go back and be like, oh yeah, and then you were here, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was there, I forgot about that. Like for sure, like all of us like forget because like you kind of get into this flow state where it's just like you're moving and you're flowing and you're doing your thing, and you forget like things that happen in a match if you go back and watch, or if your teammates, your coaches are telling you about it. But this person like makes up events in their head, like things that didn't happen, or like they were like, oh yeah, like, you know, I got screwed, I didn't get my sweep points, and I'm like, you were on bottom for the whole match, bro.
They're like, you were mounted, and they're like, no, I was in a mount, I swept him from half guard, and you're like, no, you were mounted, and the sweep you're talking about is when he armbarred you at the end. Remember how you tapped? And they're like, wait, what? When I was in mount? And they're like, right before you tapped. And they're like, I tapped? And you're like, yeah, man, to an armbar, like within a second.
Yeah, that happens a lot. And, you know, and what's funny about that is like your teammates will be honest with you and tell you like what actually happened. But then you'll hear that person later throughout the day, like talking to other people and saying like, man, I got screwed, like the referee. And it's like, but you got submitted, man. Like, how did you get screwed? You got submitted.
They'll be like, man, I shot this whole double leg and they did give me 2 points for it. And they're like, you shot a double leg and then the guy sprawled and took your back. And then like later on in the day, they'll be like telling somebody like, yeah, man, I shot this whole double leg and they didn't even give me 2 for it. And you're like, we talked about it. I told you. You took your back right off of it.
But, you're not going to change that person's mind. You just be like, yeah, man, that sucks. Like, sometimes, like, you just gotta, you can't leave it in the ref's hands.
And I think that...
You tapped though, so you didn't.
And I think that kind of lack of awareness extends into the same type of person that, like, in a lot of cases, what you're seeing people do is, like, emulate what they think somebody's supposed to do. Like, they're acting confused because they're like, I'm supposed to be winning. Like, I'm trying to pretend like somebody that would be surprised if they were losing.
Yeah.
Or like, like you create these memories. And then you also have this person that's like emulating when they see other people do. And it's the person that's just smacking the crap out of themselves. Just like smacking their legs, smacking their face.
Yes. It's like the beginning, like right before they step on the mat, it's like, like always, like, and it's like, I like to like kind of like smack my legs and warm up, but it's like, it's egregious. The person who doesn't know what they're doing, they're just like mimicking other people that they've seen do it.
I don't get the legs thing.
It's too hard.
I don't get the legs thing.
I like to smack my legs and like feel that they're,
still
warm.
Attached? I don't know. What other sport have you ever seen somebody smack their legs? I don't see wrestlers do that.
I did it when I ran track too.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll give you a pass there.
Yeah.
I just, the legs thing doesn't make sense to me. It's like,
well, I mean, slapping myself in the face. You see that people do that in sports all the time. It's like, what? Are you just making sure you're alive? You're awake? You're ready to go? I don't know.
I kind of get the smack in the face thing a little bit, but I mean, I don't see it as much in jiu-jitsu. I see it in MMA a lot, where guys like will have like their coaches or somebody like smack them in the face really hard, to where it's like, whoa, like your opponent's getting ready to like do
like
that.
Don't get knocked out before you go into the match.
You're gonna need that brain for a while.
I mean, but like it wasn't in the face, but our friend John, he would always, and like when he was lifting, when he was getting ready to lift really heavy, or if he was like getting ready to fight, like he'd always be like, okay, I want you to slap my back as hard as you can, and I'd be like, smack him like that. I don't mind, I'll hit you, like that's cool. But I didn't understand why. But I mean, I wasn't going to say no to getting a chance to hit somebody.
I've seen enough people do it to where I can kind of get it, because I think it's the same. The person that actually benefits from that is the same type of person that, like, if you've ever done like stand up, like boxing or Muay Thai or something like that, the guy that you hit and then they're like, oh man, nice punch. Like, that's not in me. No one ever hit me in stand up sparring where I was like, oh man, nice punch. I was always like, oh no. So I think the person that's like, cool, nice punch, like that's the type of person could get like amped off of getting hit in the face or whatever. But the legs and just like the egregiousness.
Again, like if you're any of these people, like we're not criticizing you. We're just pointing out like the things that we'll see, and like maybe giving like examples to people who have for like it's just to be prepared. If you've never been to a tournament before, like what you might see, so you're not shocked.
Not shocked. And I think in that token too, almost everybody in jiu-jitsu is friendly. And I think we've made so many friends like globally and traveled around the world with a lot of people that we've built good relationships with. So don't be discouraged when you see that one guy that's like mean mugging everybody in the bullpen.
Yes, like okay, I'm not gonna point this out, but there was like one person in particular that like I adore. I'm like a super fan of. I think that she's a great person. But like there was a couple times that we were in the same division, and like when we weren't even like set to fight each other like right off the bat, but we were in the same division. So like she just seemed kind of like standoffish, and I would always be like, oh man, like I don't know, like she doesn't seem very nice, because the whole day, like the whole, like maybe it was a weekend event, and every time I see her before we actually fight, she would like be giving me this look, and it's just like, because we're in the same division, like we can't talk right now, But then there was one time that we weren't fighting the same division, and it was like before either of us had fought. She came up to me and was like, hey, like, blah, 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 and started talking to me. And I'm like, she was the coolest person, and I adore her, and I think she's awesome. And I'm like, whatever. But it's like before that I had thought like, oh, she's so mean, like she's so serious, like and then after fighting or after like, you know, getting a chance, and like some people that's just like their preparations. Like I feel like you have to get like mean or like mean mug people when you're like in the zone or whatever. But for me, that's not the case. Like I like to be like loose and relaxed before I fight. If we're gonna fight in the same division, I'm gonna say hey to you. Like I don't care. Like that's just me. But like I get it. Like some people are gonna be mean mugging. Doesn't mean they're a bad person.
And I think one of the things is like the takeaway from all this is like a lot of this I think stems from people that are trying to be something that they've seen somebody else be naturally, and it's uncomfortable. Like to your point, like one of the people that we both know, and I won't say their name on the podcast, who's one of the most like I would say like brutal, like physically like challenging people to ever train with or roll with or even compete against. They, before they step on the mat, are trying to be your best friend. And it's genuinely so. Trying to strike up a conversation, be friends.
What's going on?
And then whenever they start the match, they give you a little pat on the back. And you're like, this guy seems pretty strong. And there's no friendliness in the way that he's about to treat you. And it's because that's...
But there's no ill will.
But that's who he is as a human being, you know? And then you'll have those people that are like mean mugging and look crazy, you know, like... Man, I'm not gonna put anybody's name out there, but that being said, there are people that are like that, and that's who they are as a human. For sure. They're not gonna be any different off the mat, and that's the thing is like a lot of these things you're seeing incongruencies between the person is who they are, and then like kind of this like role that they're playing.
Yes, it's true. So, like, if you were to give your number one egregious of these things, what would it be? I know what I would say, but, like, do you have, like, something it's like, okay, some of this stuff is just people, like, being people, and then something is, like, just what not to do as a competitor?
I would say the thing that's probably the most detrimental, and that's kind of like how I'll fixate it, is the super confused guy. Basically the person that's like more concerned about like acting out the part of like, I'm surprised, how did I get these points? Or like trying to like argue with their coach or say something, why did I get those 2 points? Like, dude, you need to focus on the match. Like,
well, I think that actually speaks to something else that's weird in jiu-jitsu. It's like, it's a weird phenomenon that like in this sport is, I feel like it's one of the only sports that you're going to show up to a tournament and not know the rules, you know? And I think that's like a big part of it, because sometimes people might actually be confused, and sometimes the rules are so confusing because like each tournament has a little bit different rule set. But like, man, like
I hear that a lot. Like, how many other tournaments or how many other sports you can show up and not know the rules? Like, how many other sports are you going to show up and like the rules are different for every like match or game? But like, if you sign up for an event, like know the rules. And I'm definitely like guilty of that, like not understanding the rules or whatever. I think it's different not understanding and not knowing. You know? Yeah, I think that's true. And I think that's the thing with all these. I think, like, we've all probably, to some degree, like, are, I guess, offenders of some aspect of this.
Sure.
And I think that's the part of making fun of it is, to a certain extent, is, like, everybody can sort of relate to it if you've ever done a jiu-jitsu tournament before.
And it's just silly. Like, we're not mad at you if you're any of these people, but it's like...
Or all of them. You could be all of them at some point.
It's true. That's true.
I feel like it's hard to be the nap person. I feel
like for me though, like the worst thing you can do is just be the dirty person, like, and not like think of other people. Like, wear your shoes when you go to the bathroom. Like, if you're not on the mat, have shoes on. Like, that's all. That's all I'm asking. And like, if you're going into the tournament, make sure that you have had shoes on and your feet are clean before you come to the tournament. I've seen people, what bothers me, this is like kind of off topic, but it's not even a tournament thing. It's just jiu-jitsu people being gross. Is I've had people walk, and it happens with kids a lot, but they'll get out of their car and walk barefoot into the academy. Bro, come on. Like, you're going to step on the mat and then my face is going to be there? Like, come on. It's just a respect for others.
Respect for others.
You're not the only person there. Everybody's stressed out at high, like everything's at like on like high alert because you're getting ready to fight, you're getting ready to compete. So Just be
and realize
respectful of each
you
other.
can set the tone for both your friends, your family, and your teammates, and that will be where we start on our next episode when we get into all the people that are off the mats. Luckily, you control you, and you can control
That's
whether or
true.
not you're one of these people.
But we're going to talk about your family and then maybe things that if you are a competitor, you should talk to your friends and family about before you invite them to a tournament.
Or maybe don't invite them or tell them at all.
If you know you can't you can't control them, if they're going to be out of control, maybe just say, you know what? I'd rather you not be here.
I'm Tyler Bishop. That's Jenna Bishop. This has been another episode of
Not fighting.